Plaintiff Dawn Hines rented a room in her home to the defendant, but she claims over time he became disruptive to other tenants, and she has the video to prove it. She's suing for rent, late fees, and damages. Defendant Malik Birch says Dawn was intrusive and constantly interfered in his relationship with his girlfriend. Malik insists Dawn is suing for more than he owes.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Yes, Your Honor. I met Malik Birch on August 30th, 2020, and he had answered an ad that I had for a bedroom that's upstairs, and he came and he liked it, and he signed it for the month, beginning the month of September, for a 12-month lease. If you look at the first page of our 3-page lease, you'll see that it says that utilities are included and that we ask everyone to keep the home peaceful, positive, and for it to be a pleasant environment. And then on the second page of our lease, you'll see that the rental is $650 a month, and there's a late fee of $25 a day. And then on the third page,
you're trying to go to jail.
on the third
That's
page,
a crime, ma'am. That's a crime. It is. It's called usury, ma'am.
Well, this was the same lease that I had from the gentleman who I purchased.
He can go to jail too.
Well, my attorney had seen the lease and never had.
Well, your attorney should be disbarred. He should be disbarred. Go ahead.
And I thought that must have been standard because that's what had always been followed. And,
no, $50 a month is standard. Go ahead, though.
Yes, sir. And the contract had been read and signed by Malik as well as myself, so it was a agreed and binding contract. There had never been any issues of anything within the contract. And basically, if they know that there's a late fee, they just have to make it a priority to pay on time, and they can avoid the late fees. Okay, and then everything really was wonderful. I mean, Malik was very pleasant, very considerate. It was a very peaceful home for the first 2 months. He shared that he enjoyed living there with a young lady that he introduced me to, and the other residents in the home also knew the young lady, and they said that they like her and they would feel very comfortable because it had always been a male home, a male dorm, and it's really our secondary home, but I would rent it to students, and I have 2 younger children that will be staying there, and we keep it well maintained, and people like living there. It's a very family type setting. And so she wanted to stay there. She was the first female, and she wanted to rent the room downstairs. So we allowed that, and everything was great for the first couple of days. But then Malik was having difficulty paying rent, and he asked if I would help him with a rental agreement program.
When did that
I
come?
did that.
When was that? When?
That was in December.
Okay.
And then the rental help program, I spent about 8 hours. You know, I really work with people if they're late or if they need a rental assistance.
You work with them when they're late. That's right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He loves that work.
I know you love that work. I know you love your job, don't you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so I helped him. We were able to, take care of December, so he didn't have to pay for that. And then he told me he was in love. And
he told you he was what?
He said,
in love with you?
No, not with me. No, no. I'm old enough to be his mom. No, he was in love with the young lady downstairs.
Okay.
And he said that he wanted to marry her. But in the back of my mind, I was curious. I said, well, he can't pay rent. How is he going to provide for a family? So I said, this is interesting, but I love to see people in love. I don't doubt what love can do. And, I was on board. I was just, smiling at him and thinking that
you were on board. You were on board.
I thought
Now,
they
if
were
you
cute
weren't
together.
on board, what would happen?
More late fees.
More late fees. Don't charge me more late fees. I ain't for this I ain't for this marriage. Throw a couple more late fee, counselor. Throw a couple more late fees.
So everything.
Let him talk for a little, and we'll stop at the point at which you were saying they were in love, and then I'll get back and let you finish. But let me allow him to give some background now, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. I had been saving up some money and whatnot, and I had found the room. She had called me, and everything was cool. You know, I was able to put down like 2.5 months rent ahead and everything. You know, I told her what I did for work and whatnot, and it was cool. But it's like over time, as things started to happen, she would get more involved in my business as opposed to, I feel like it wasn't her place to.
That's pretty clear.
And then when I would talk to my father, and
Give me some examples. Give me some examples.
One example was when we were going through our stuff or whatever, when I could not pay my rent, which I told her I had lost my job, that she had went to she went to my girlfriend, texting her behind my back, and my girlfriend showed me the messages at the time, my girlfriend, saying like, oh, you know, men in my family, you know, are able to provide and whatnot, you know, like down talking me, causing me more issues in my relationship at that. On top
She didn't ask your girlfriend for some sort of help or to help you or to provide something she said beneficial, because I'm not getting that. I'm getting a mentor vibe from her that she wanted to help you young people make the right decisions. So helping you and trying to be a part of steering your life in the right direction as a young person, as I would do, could be construed as getting into your business.
Then on the second page of our lease, you'll see that the rental is $650 a month, and there's a late fee of $25 a day. And then on the third page,
you trying to go to jail.
on the third
That's
page,
a crime, ma'am. That's a crime.
Defendant Malik Birch is being sued by his former landlord, who claims Malik was disruptive to the other tenants, and she has the video to prove it.
You sure that text wasn't, hey, I know you guys are having trouble and perhaps Malik needs to do this or that, and that would be better for you guys because right now you guys are unable to meet the rent. So let me give you a suggestion. It wasn't that kind of interference?
No, it didn't come off like that because we were told two different things, and it came off more like you should leave him opposed to like
really
the situation. That's how I took it.
You changed your mind on the marriage? You changed your mind?
No.
You didn't change your mind on the marriage?
That was not my place.
You didn't end the wedding?
Your Honor, I never said that.
You said you changed your mind and you stopped the wedding plans.
I kept my reservations quiet and to myself, respectfully.
No, but seriously, young man, I really get that type of spirit from her. Give me another example then of her getting into you all's business.
Talking to my other roommates, telling them my business that belonged between us, I feel like it's in a business thing. Like, It is kind of embarrassing, like, having to go around the house. Like, already, I know, yes, I do need to pay rent. I'm not taking anything away from that. But it just makes it a little worse when people are in your business and they know that.
And gossiping. You're saying she was gossiping about you amongst the other tenants?
My roommates knew my situation before it was even broken down, before the eviction was even put down.
Ma'am, did you do that?
Absolutely not. In fact, the others would provide information to me in the middle of the night, wake me up and say, there's a problem, a fight with Malik and the young lady. There's a fight between Malik and someone else. I hear fighting upstairs and, in the hall. I never encouraged any type of animosity or fighting whatsoever. I was really, trying to be a minimalist in terms of being involved with their personal lives.
Okay.
I want them to be adults and
All
to
right, he
get along
said your gossip,
with peace
but you're saying what it was is people coming to you. He came up in conversations with the other tenants because they were complaining about his behavior. That's what you're saying, essentially?
Yes, sir.
If you discussed
Yes, Your
him with
Honor.
other tenants, it was regarding his negative behavior that they were complaining about.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir? You hear what she said? She said the tenants were calling her about things you were doing that they didn't like. And namely, hostilities between you and your girlfriend that were disruptive. Hostilities with someone else in the household that was disruptive. What do you say?
I mean, from what I was understanding from my roommates, they never expressed that to me. That was never expressed to me.
No one is
And
complaining to you?
we would argue. We would have arguments and
Why?
whatnot.
About what? What type of things?
Just little things, like being like accused of like cheating, stuff like that. Like I did get into an argument with my roommate because he had got into a situation with my girlfriend that I felt he had overstepped his boundaries in. And I communicated that to him.
Okay. And was that the only argument you've had there with
no, we would have debates. We often did have debates, but it never turned into anything aggressive in between us. I didn't get aggressive with my roommate until he started to get into my business with like doing stuff like, like going on dates with my girlfriend behind my back, stuff like that. Little stuff like that would cause issues.
And what's your girlfriend, when you asked her about it, what'd she say?
I didn't talk to her about it because she stopped
How did
communicating.
you find out that he was going behind your back with your girlfriend then? How did you find out?
I came home and then I seen him all dressed up and I seen her dressed up and I seen them both walking to the car and then he was trying to like hide to the side.
Even hide.
And then I was like, if you're going out with her, I'm like, you're a grown man. You don't have to like sneak around me. And he was like, it's not like that. I was like, well, then why are you sneaking around if it's not like that? And that was the altercation.
Are you hurt by it?
At the time I was.
You're not anymore?
No.
Okay, well, I gotta have a little fun with it then. What did he have on? He had on a bow tie.
Oh.
Did he have a top hat and his cane?
Gators.
Yeah, his gators. I know he had to have gators on. I know you ain't let a man take your woman and he even had no gators. Gators, you don't know what it takes. Dog knows what it takes. Yeah, don't say you got the gators on. And what was she? I bet she was laid. What she had on a velour dress with down the here, cut down to there, made up like you ain't ever seen it.
She did put some perfume on I had never smelled before.
Well, thank God that happened before you married her, because that was a sign, a clear sign
definitely.
that you would have made perhaps the biggest mistake in your life. And a lot of times you get signs that say, this was a bad decision, now cut your losses. So before you all marry, have a baby, and then 1 year later, and then 1 year later, your roommate. Hey man, need you to watch the baby.
I gotta go.
We headed out. We go. See you, man. We be back in a minute. Okay.
No.
You should have gave me that. I tell you, if I get that much room, I'm going in. I'm gonna clown you to death. See, I got her. I told her she and her lawyer are gonna be in the same cell together. So I wasn't gonna spare you after I rattled her.
Right.
She ready to call a criminal defense lawyer. All right, I was just having fun with you too. But okay, sir, I understand why you might argue with this cat.
I was on board. I was just, smiling at them and thinking that
you were on board. You were on board. Now, if you weren't on board, what would happen?
More late fees.
More late fees. You're charging more late fees.
Defendant Malik Birch is being sued by his former landlord, who claims Malik was disruptive to the other tenants, and she has the video to prove it.
What do you know of this? You know all the gossip in the house. Ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor. I actually have a video where he
was this involving sport
residents.
coat? Was this involving sport coat?
It was that, yeah.
Why were you doing it? She's gonna show me, but so give me some heads up so that I won't be appalled.
I was just hurt. I was hurt.
Okay,
and I looked
so
at him as a friend, you know.
with your girl.
I was hurt.
Okay, that's what this was related to. Let's see.
Yeah.
Over with the suitcase down.
Get me out of here before you get this out of here. You dig?
I'm not gonna do that for you.
See it? Recording bro.
I mean, look how you're acting, bro.
I don't give a bro, because I got used, bro. I'm going crazy right now.
You recording this, right?
He can't even afford it.
Bro, what is wrong with you, bro? Bro, I can't with you.
Okay. So bad.
Bro.
Your Honor, I was having to deal with outbursts like that and rants like that repeatedly.
All I see him retaliating against a co-tenant who took his woman, who was fooling with his woman behind his back. And a lot of guys would get violent toward them. He did the minimal that some street guys would do. Some other guys would have taken it a couple of steps further. They'd have grabbed the closest brick and thrown it through that window based on what he's telling me had occurred. I don't know what I would do. I would hope that I would just talk and leave. He left. With a couple of curse words. I would probably say some curse words. I doubt if I would go the next step.
Yes, the next video is of his room. There are tons of pictures on the wall. All that had to be repainted afterward. I keep the house where it's in pristine, excellent condition because I want excellent renters. And I can't rent it if it's not kept in good condition. And he would kick the doors and damage the doors. He had tattoo ink on pillows, on his mattress, on the mattress cover.
Can I stop you? Show me him going around banging on doors, because that is violent and disruptive to the household. And you played that footage, and it did show him outside of the household approaching and being belligerent with the guy and his woman who were in the car. And I think he had a moderate reaction, quite frankly, and that is he just mooned him in reverse. So, and I saw where inside of his room was disorganized, and quite frankly, it wasn't as nasty as most bachelors' bedrooms I've seen.
I actually have a video where he was banging on the door so much that it not only damaged the door, but it actually damaged the frame.
I'm going to watch again, and I want you to tell me what it is I'm going to see that he's doing to disrupt the household.
Yes, you could see him banging on the other side of the door. We're on the inside of one of the residents' rooms, and you could see the door shaking so much that the frame is actually even shaking as well.
And who was on the other side? Was it his girlfriend or the guy who was running off with his girlfriend? Were those the people, or one or the other, inside of the room that he was banging on the door of?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll look at your video and see what we have here.
Open the door.
You want to describe what I saw?
Yes, that's just one 6-second video. But then when you look at his bedroom upstairs, you see
let me stop you. Do you have anything on video showing him knocking on a door? I need to see or hear even the banging that you've described that caused so much damage to the door, and you say you had on video. What's he had on? A velour dress with down the here, cut down the there. Made up like you ain't ever seen it.
She did put some perfume on I had never smelled before.
Defendant Malik Birch is being sued by his former landlord, who claims Malik was disruptive to the other tenants, and she has the video to prove it.
Sir, I did not see anything showing that you were banging on a door. I saw you very calmly, or it sounds like I heard very calmly asking to speak to your girlfriend. I saw exactly what it was. It was totally different from what she told me I would see. And it was unreasonable, her assessment of your room, your bedroom, being in disrepair or damaged just because you hang things on your wall like any tenant in the entire history of mankind does. She had a problem with that. So let's talk about the rent.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I do owe the rent, and I was trying to pay the rent, but she told me if I couldn't pay it in full, I couldn't do portions. It had to be all in full.
She has that right.
$3,000 that she wanted, and I didn't have that. And then she got the eviction, and then they told me that if I wasn't out in the next 2 days, all my stuff was going to be in the yard. So I just went with it because it's like it was no way for me to work that out, and I was not working. I couldn't just come up with $3,000.
Okay, so that's a creditor's option. How much was your deposit?
I believe my deposit fee was $250.
Okay.
And I thought that would cover the blind. The mattress was actually already dirty when I got it. It wasn't in the best condition, and I didn't leave any damage.
That was a brand new.
Ma'am, I'm going to grant the rent that he believes he owes, and that's all. $3,000 is your judgment for what he agrees he owes. All your other testimony has proven to be unreliable. Have a good day. $3,000 is your judgment. All the other stuff that you haven't been able to back it up. But other than that, you did a good job, and you were very respectful of the court, despite the contradictions and what I interpret as dishonesty and criminal behavior with that lease. $3,000 is your judgment. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a nice, life. You got everything that's done. I don't hate you. It's all love on my end.
Good. Stay clean.
Plaintiff Thomas Becker says last year his home was burglarized while he was out of town, and a safe with $10,000 inside was stolen. Thomas is suing because he bought a refrigerator from the defendant, but it didn't work. Defendant Ryan Perry says last December he tested positive for COVID, and that same day he was shot by his girlfriend's ex and was in a coma for 2 days. Ryan is countersuing Thomas for emotional distress.
Start with you.
As Murphy's Law would have it, in 2020, if anything could go wrong, it will go wrong. And started out in May. Our house got robbed. We hired a guy to work with us. And as you get to know people, they kind of ask you questions about yourself. What are you doing this weekend? What kind of plans you got? And the gentleman said,
"You and strangers discuss that?"
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And he asked us, what are you guys doing this weekend? And we told him
I'll be sitting right here in the window all day and night just to look outside and enjoy myself. That's my hobby for the weekend. And that's what I told him. But go ahead, what you tell him you gonna do?
So he knew we was leaving town, and we come home on that Sunday to find our house burglarized. Our house was destroyed. Our bedroom was turned upside down.
What was taken?
We had a safe with about $10,000 in it.
How about personal stuff, though?
They took my wife's smartwatch and her laptop. Mm-hmm. And I've got cameras in the home, so we kind of knew immediately who it was and turned it over to the police. And
they captured him?
They arrested the individual.
$10,000 was gone?
Yeah, and it has not been recovered.
Yeah.
And so in 2020 was really bad on us. I'm a contractor. And people, don't want you in their home because of the COVID. And prices of everything have went through the roof.
Triple.
Things are on back order. People can't get things.
Plaintiff Thomas Becker claims he bought a refrigerator from the defendant, but it never worked properly. So he's suing to get his money back.
How much has lumber gone up?
Well,
twice, 3 times? Huh?
About 120%.
Yeah. Yeah, what a 3/4 tongue and groove 4x8 sheet was about $30. Now it's $78.
Yep.
So
I'm working to build a development in Detroit, low income, affordable housing. And as we talk with the folks, lumber has tripled.
yeah.
Wow.
Tripled in Detroit, and likewise other places. So, wow. So yeah, has been taking a hit, and plus not getting to work. And that's what I'm trying to understand. If people weren't allowing you in their homes, how did the price go up? Is it the pent-up demand? You got any explanations for these viewers? Because everybody wants to know.
Basically, I think it's everything. Everybody's buying so much up that they're running it out of supply.
But what are they buying it for? It's pent-up demand for things you didn't want fixed while the COVID was going on?
Yeah, basically they're panic mode. They're trying to buy up everything and do everything they can just in case this happens again. That's what I think.
Okay.
I mean,
is that your assessment too?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
COVID scared everybody. I mean, it made a big change the way life goes.
People were hoarding toilet paper. So imagine, they were hoarding lumber too.
Got it. I get it.
I contracted COVID December 4th, and the same day I got gunshot. I got shot by a .357 right here in the stomach.
How did that happen?
Altercation with my ex-girlfriend's ex. I went to go to his house where she was at to tell her that I had tested positive for COVID after work, and he was there seeing the kid, or she was there seeing the kids. And I roll up and he answered the door and put his hands on me. And after altercation, I defended myself, and he went in the house and got a .357 and come back out and shot me. Point blank. It's still in my spine.
Wow.
Plus I had COVID.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I woke up after 2.5 days being in a coma, and it changes the way you live life. I mean, that was a miracle.
Sure was. Now, what way has it changed you?
It makes me
value something more than you did?
Life. I appreciate life every day. I mean, any day you wake up is a blessing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't think I was going to survive.
Right.
I mean, I drove, after I got shot, I drove about 5 miles to get help, to get lifelined after I got shot.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, but you're right. That's a miracle. And
it puts a different determination to your life and what means the most and what doesn't.
What type of family do you have?
My mom and dad I got one son, and I'm not in his life right now, but I'm trying to get that changed because my kid's mom died 2 days after I got gunshot.
How?
Drug overdose. And my great aunt died 12 hours after she died in the same hospital 2 floors under me, 12 hours, like within 12 hours after I got shot. While I was in a coma.
Same hospital?
Yeah.
What did she die from?
She had a stroke. So yeah, been a rough year for me too.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about all that. And yours, what else?
We got hit by a drunk driver, and my wife tore her shoulder in the wreck. She had muscle damage and some tissue damage, and she was out for almost 8 months. And she's a school teacher, and she couldn't return to the classroom. And then they started allowing kids to do homeschooling, basically virtual learning. So she was able to, get back and still do her activities from home, and still do rehab and work on her shoulder.
How's it been for you guys?
Very rough so far.
Why? What? I'm sorry, I don't mean to get exhausted by the things that have happened, but what now?
Well, with the robbery and just the struggle from recouping from that, and
no additional trauma though, no additional crisis.
No
new crisis.
No additional crisis.
All right.
Except for the refrigerator that we bought.
Okay, that's what we're here today for. No additional crisis for you in 2021.
No, not
All
really.
All right, so we're gonna look forward to a better decade.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm still here. I'm still breathing.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Plaintiff Thomas Becker claims he bought a refrigerator from the defendant, but it never worked properly, so he's suing to get his money back.
Tell me how we get here today regarding the refrigerator.
Well, me and my wife and the kids, we went to a state park, and we come home. It was June the 8th, and we went to get in the refrigerator, and the refrigerator was hot, like it was above normal temperature. And a week prior to that, we had just bought half of a beef, and we
half of a what?
A beef, half of a cow.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And we had most of it in our deep freeze, and what wouldn't fit in there, we had in our regular freezer in our refrigerator. So it was late in the afternoon, and we were in scatter mode trying to find a refrigerator. And my friend stops by, and he says, "Hey, I know a guy that may have one. Let me reach out to him." And Mr. Perry sent me a picture of a refrigerator, and I messaged back and I said, what's the damage on the refrigerator? And he didn't reply right away, so I called him, and he's like, "Well, it's got some scratches and stuff." And I was like, "Well, what's the damage as far as how much do you want for it?"
Right.
He said, "I want $600 for it." So he said he wouldn't be home, but the mutual friend that we share agreed to go with me to Mr. Perry's because I didn't even know where he lived. He took me, we looked at the refrigerator. You could go to Lowe's right now and buy it off the shelf. I mean, it was a brand new refrigerator. So we thought, this is a good deal. And we loaded it up, we brought it home, we plugged it in. I gave my friend the money since he had to go back to Mr. Perry's house to pick up his car. I said, "Here, you just take the money with you and it'll save me a trip." And he said, "Okay." So about 3 days go by. We've got all of our stuff in the refrigerator. It's not freezing. We reach in and pull out some steaks, and they're still, kind of spongy. They're not frozen solid. It's not making ice. I had tried to contact Mr. Perry.
So it never froze?
It never froze.
From the moment you got it?
From the moment I got it. It never froze. And I reached out to Mr. Perry, and he said, "Well, did you tilt it too far, bringing it in the house?" And I didn't think we did, so I let it go. We gave it a couple more days, and it was about 3 days after that I had tried to contact Mr. Perry, and he didn't answer the phone. So we had my wife call from her phone because, it's a different phone number. And she had reached out. He never answered, and at that point, we contacted a repairman to come and see what was wrong with the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. And the repairman came. He charged us $110 to look at the refrigerator. And he said, "I don't know if I can fix it. I don't know if I can even get the part for it." So he said, "But since it's a new refrigerator, you might contact Samsung to see if it's under warranty." My wife reached out to Samsung. They sent a repair technician. He worked on it 3 times. He came to our house 3 separate times and said, I've replaced everything in it that I could replace. I can't get it to work. So we called.
Who paid for those visits?
It was under warranty. So Samsung covered the cost of the repairman.
Okay.
And then
if they covered the cost of the repairman, the warranty doesn't give a new one if it can't be repaired?
Well, and this is what we found out, that on the 4th time my wife called, she said, "Well, could you pull the refrigerator out and read me the numbers on the back of the refrigerator?" So she reads it, and the lady looks up the information, and she says, "Well, it says here in our records that the refrigerator had already been returned for this problem, and that the refrigerator was never supposed to have been sold. It was supposed to have been destroyed." So at this point, we think, "Oh no, we've bought a lemon refrigerator."
You're killing me with this luck, man. All right.
It's been rough. It's been really rough on us.
All right. So ultimately, what did Mr. Perry say?
We don't know. We never heard back from Mr. Perry.
And why do you want $3,000?
Well, if it hadn't been for the fact that he sold us a bad refrigerator, we wouldn't have had to buy a new one to begin with.
What if he hadn't sold you one at all? Then what would you have done?
Well, we would have continued to shop that night.
Right.
We had to have one right then and there. And the stores are on back order. If you go to Lowe's or somewhere and you buy a refrigerator, you don't get the one on display.
And so you wouldn't have been able to get one outside of him.
Right.
So how were you able to get one later outside of him?
Well, we have a small appliance store that is...
My point is, him selling you that didn't prevent you from getting another refrigerator somewhere. If he had not sold you his for $600, the lemon, as you characterize it, You still had to spend money on your own. I understand you might want your money back, but you...
I mean, he could have brought it back, and I don't answer a lot of phone numbers that I don't recognize, because it's, since I've gotten shot, I've been doing PTSD, and it's different to deal with.
Understand.
People bother me, and I mean, felt like it was getting to a situation where it's escalating, so it's like, you know, confrontation's pretty avoidable right now for me.
Yeah, I understand. That's totally understandable based on the experience you've had. So
I just don't answer numbers I don't know, and it
neither do I, and most people don't. So I don't.
But I knew our mutual friend that he bought it from, he lived with me. So I mean, I told him two or three times that, I don't know if he told you or not, but I said you could bring it back.
Yeah, the person he's talking about told me, he's like, I'm not in it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And I told him the same thing.
Plaintiff Thomas Becker claims he bought a refrigerator from the defendant, but it never worked properly. So he's suing to get his money back.
And what's your counterclaim for? $1,500. How did he cause you emotional distress?
Since then, last time, I had to take off work to deal with, I've been going to therapy and stuff like that to try and sort through this, what I'm dealing with, and just the emotional distress that it's caused me since. It
aggravated your pre-existing condition?
Yes.
Which came from the trauma you suffered. All right. Unfortunately, I can't grant you that because he had no way of knowing that calling you to get what he felt was fairness. And how many times did you call him?
Probably 6-7 times between me and then.
How long?
Over the course, probably a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
It's not bad. If you'd told me 6 or 7 times in one day, then yes. Maybe even 2 days, 3 or 4 times a day is too many, yes, to deal with a vendor. But no, that's not unreasonable. So I don't think that rises to the level of emotional distress. On the other hand, sir, you can't get a brand new refrigerator from him. You can get your money back and the repair monies. I give you that. But the essence of it is, I'm putting you right back in the position you were before you bought a faulty refrigerator. And I'm taking your word for that. And he could have defended that and said, when I had it, it was freezing. I put an ice cream bar in there and it was rock hard. And he didn't do any of that. And he could say, I was as is. He didn't do any of that. But as is, one of the things, I'm giving a little law here for folks that are watching. He couldn't use as is in this instance because it didn't work at all, the essential part of the refrigerator. And with cars and anything else bought as is, it has to at least serve the function for which it was made. You make a car so that it can drive. So you can't go to the lot, buy it, exchange money, exchange title, and then you can't drive off because the engine is gone. And the guy said it was as is. No, I bought it with the intention of being able to drive it. And you did not deliver me something to meet the intention of the purchase. In this case, you bought it with the intention of freezing items and refrigerating. The refrigerating part worked, but the freezing part didn't. So you purchased an item that was not prepared to operate for its intended purposes. If everything worked and maybe the light went on and off, I'd tell you no. Or got a scratch on the side, well, it still works, right? You only pay $600. It's used, yes, it's gonna have all that. Light bulb, this, that, and the other. Does it work for the purpose intended? Does it freeze your food on day one? All right, so that's why I'm going to give you all your money back, $710, and I'm going to dismiss your claim for emotional distress. It doesn't rise to that. Good luck to you guys. You really need some good luck. Good health to you. Continued health, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. No, just check your products a little better before you sell them.
Sorry for the loss of Sorry, man.
That's all right.